Hello everyone, it's Maureen Gacheru here. I'm a counselor and psychologist from FatherCK Foundation. I hope you are okay. I hope you've been doing well. I don't know how you've been coping during this COVID-19 period. A lot has been happening. People have lost jobs, people have lost loved ones, you know, businesses have collapsed. So many things have been happening. I hope you've been coping well. And if not, please stay tuned because I have a lot of content for you that is going to benefit your mental health and get your feet back on track so you can hit the road and start looking for a job, get medical help if you've been in the house and you've been sick and you're not mentally fit, to go and seek help. And also, there are so many things that I'm going to be talking about today that are going to benefit you, okay? So, just to reintroduce myself, I'm Maureen Gacheru. I'm a counselor and psychologist, and I work with FatherCK Foundation to bring you mental health advice or counsel. And I also offer counseling services at FatherCK Foundation. So visit us at Blessed House, room number 64. Blessed House is located along Thika Road. Visit us there. We have a number of counselors who can help you in dealing with loss and grief, trauma, issues in your marriage, in your relationship, issues in addiction, anything. So we are back on YouTube. I know if you've been following our content, we've been doing mental health content, myself and Agnes Nyamo. And from now on, you shall be seeing more counselors come here to give you mental health counsel, alongside FatherCK himself as well. So today I want to talk about mental health and the self-care wheel. I don't know if we have ever heard about the self-care wheel, but it goes hand in hand with the topic of mental health. I'm sure mental health is something you have probably heard of, maybe in the news, maybe you've seen it on posters somewhere in the hospital, maybe you've heard it from other psychologists and counselors. Okay, so it's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. I want you to live here knowing what exactly mental health is, because there are so many myths surrounding mental health in the definition of what it is and what it entails, you know? Yeah, so what is mental health? If you ask me, in my own words, so mental health is a state of well-being in which includes, so mental health is a state of well-being which includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, okay? And so I've mentioned there is emotional, psychological, and social well-being of yourself as an individual, okay? So anytime you're thinking about your psychological well-being, anytime you're thinking about your emotional well-being, anytime you're thinking about your social well-being, how you interact with people, maybe your family members, your friends, all this is called mental health, okay? And I'm going to also define something else that people mistake for mental health, which is mental illness, okay? So mental illness, as the name itself suggests, it's an illness, okay? So a mental illness is a disease of the mind, okay? A disease that affects your mind. And examples include depression, examples include substance use disorder, there is schizophrenia, there is bipolar disorder. All these, they are mental illnesses, okay? And the well-being of an individual mentally is mental health. I hope we now get the difference at least, okay? Please, if you have any questions regarding what I'm talking about, feel free to comment down below, ask your question, let me know what your name is, where you come from, and then just ask the question and I will make sure to get back to you. Okay, moving on. I introduced today's topic as self-care in mental health, and we are going to be talking about the self-care wheel. So the self-care wheel is a tool that was developed by psychologists that is used to track and determine the areas of mental health that need to be taken care of, okay? And these areas, they include, like I had mentioned, there is your emotional, your psychological, your social, and then I'm going to add others, which I believe you have already guessed. There's the physical, there's the spiritual, okay? All these, we could talk about the 5 for now, okay? All these are areas that are very important, very key in your mental health. And the minute you're able to take care of each and every one of them, your mental health becomes balanced, okay? So introducing self-care is a way of making sure that these 5 areas that I've mentioned, they are balanced, okay? If it is your spirituality, making sure that at least it's at 50%, making sure your physical health is at 50% at least, you know, making sure your psychological health is at 50, your psychological, your social, how you interact with people is at least at 50. If you're at 50 on all these areas, then you should be having a balanced mental health life, okay, or well-being. So I'm going to talk about some examples of mental health issues, and these include things that we face on a day-to-day basis, and these are things that you can start noticing so that you can start taking care of them, you know, or trying to improve them. And such issues include things as small as being irritable. We all know what irritability is, but if we don't, it's fine. I'm just going to define it. So irritability is, you can notice, I'm going to use an example. Like Joshua. Like Joshua, he's my cameraman. I could ask you, like, why is the camera tilted? And then you snap at me. Okay? And then you're like, Kwani, you can't see I'm the cameraman here, you know? So that is an example of irritability. When your reaction to something is not matching the situation, okay? I think that is the easiest way in which I can describe it, okay? So if you notice that you are irritable, this is an area that you could note down that you need to improve on. Other mental health issues include anxiety, when you feel like you're worried about everything all the time, even when there is nothing to worry about. There is the issue of depression. Even though depression is a bit deep, because you have to be diagnosed by a psychiatrist or a psychologist, a licensed psychologist, that you have depression before you actually start telling people that you have depression, or you start thinking to yourself that you have depression. Because with the online culture nowadays, It's easy to go online and download a depression assessment tool, and then you assess yourself and you're like, hey, I have depression. So it's important not to do that, because scientifically there's the right way of diagnosing mental health issues. Okay, so another issue is anger. We've all heard about anger management, because anger is a thing. Anytime maybe you get into a conversation with someone, and then you don't agree with someone, and then you become so angry and you hold on to that anger, it's an issue. It's an issue that you should start considering working on. There's the issue of resentment. Holding on to resentment. Resentment is what builds up after you've held on to anger for too long. That is called resentment. So it's important to start noticing when you get into a fight with someone, do you still hold on after the fight is long, I don't know, gone, you know? Start noticing such things. So I've mentioned anxiety, I've mentioned depression, anger, irritability, and I've mentioned lastly resentment. These are just some examples. Please, during your free time, you could Google what other mental health issues happen to us on a day-to-day basis, and start working on how you can improve on these areas. Okay? So next time, guys, I'm going to talk about the self-care now. How do you take care of your mental health? Okay? Yeah, so thank you very much for staying until the end of the video. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye!